To the cloud. So guys, good morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day. And guys, I got a treat in store for you today. Some of you guys will have heard some of the stuff that I'm going to cover today. I'll tell you right now, I always think about, I never really knew how to explain how the money works in our business until probably the 10th or 15th time Peter explained it to me. And it was the first time that I was trying to explain it to another person. When I really listened, I was kind of put on the spot and I needed to know it. And so it made sense. So the reason I share that is, guys, because some of you guys, it's going to be the first time you've heard this material. Some of you guys, this might be the 3rd or the 5th or the 10th time that you've heard it. But repetition is the mother of all learning. Hearing something over and over again, sometimes it is the 10th or 12th time before it finally sticks. And so I'm going to share some stuff with you guys today on one of my favorite topics in the world, which is goals. Okay. And I'm going to start it off with some proof, guys. We're going to talk about, how to set goals. But before we get into how to, we want to talk about why it's important, because guys, when you understand the why, the how tends to take care of itself, and then you'll actually do it. You'll actually dig in. Whereas if you don't understand why you're doing something, we can sometimes kind of just drift through it or just kind of go through the motions and it not really be as meaningful as it could. So I want to share with you guys a little bit of proof. I'm a big fan that documentation beats conversation. So I'm going to share with you some documentation that's the real deal Holyfield, guys. And the reason we're doing this is because 4 short days from now, this quarter ends and the next one begins. And we want to make sure, guys, that we have our plan, our roadmap, if you will, for the next quarter. Guys, you never would take off. Back in the days before there were smartphones and there were, you could pull up maps on your phone or your computer, you used a thing called an atlas. For those of you that are below the age of 30, you may not know what an atlas is, but that's a big book that had a map of the United States in it. And then you could turn to any state and find a map of that state and every road that was in it. And that was the way that we would find our way around this great country of ours, and other countries too, if you traveled abroad. And you would never take off from North Carolina trying to get to Minnesota or California or Texas without your atlas, without your roadmap, okay? Because without it, you're going to get lost. Guys, our goals are the roadmap to our success. They're the roadmap to get to where we want to go. And without those goals and without tracking and checking for waypoints to make sure that we're on the right track, it's easy to get off the right path and get lost and end up somewhere that you completely did not intend to be. So I want to share with you guys, this is a Harvard Business School goal story. And again, some of you guys have heard this before, and I hope it hits a little bit different than it did the last 4 or 5 times you heard it. And again, for some of you guys, this is brand new, but this was a study about goals at the Harvard MBA program back in 1979, okay? Guys, in the book, What They Don't Teach You at the Harvard Business School, Mark McCormick tells about a study conducted on the students in the 79 MBA program there. In that year, the students were asked, have you set clear written goals for your future and made plans to accomplish them? Only 3% of the graduates actually had written goals and plans, okay? 13% of the students had goals, but they were not in writing. And a whopping 84% had no specific goals at all. They were just kind of wandering generalities. Let's see what happens. 10 years later, the members of the class were interviewed again. And the findings, and by the way, 10 years later, 1989, that was the year Todd graduated high school. So there's that. So the findings in 1989, while somewhat predictable, were nonetheless astonishing. Okay, the 13% of the class who had goals were earning on average twice as much as the 84% who had no goals at all. Okay, twice as much. What about the 3% that had clear written goals? They were earning on average 10 times as much as the other 97% put together. Okay. Wow. So guys, in spite of such proof of success, most people don't have clear, measurable, time-bound goals that they work toward. In his best-selling book, Goals, which, by the way, guys, I would recommend that you hop on either Audible and pick up that book called Goals.
Your Zoom title should now be all set. I changed it back to Rodney.
Hey, Victor, if you can hit mute.
I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Let's see if I can hit mute Victor. Did I just mute myself or did I just mute Victor?
Yeah, you muted yourself.
Somebody mute Victor. Actually, he stopped talking, so I think we're good. So guys, I would encourage you to download, get on Amazon Prime, get Goals by Brian Tracy. If you don't really understand goals or have never done them before, read on them. When you read up about things, guys, you're going to get material that makes you go, oh, I never knew. I didn't know what I didn't know. So learn. Goals will change your life, guys, I promise. In that book called Goals, Brian Tracy teaches you how to identify in the clearest terms the things that you want out of life. Then how to make the plan to help you achieve those things. Tracy says that there's 4 reasons why people don't set goals. 1, they don't realize about the importance of goals. Again, they don't know what they don't know. If the people with whom you spend the most time, your family, your friends, your colleagues, they're not clear and committed to goals, there's a chance that you won't be either. Okay. You don't need to be a product of your environment. 2, they don't know how to set goals. Okay. Some set goals that are too general. These are in reality just fantasies common to everyone. Goals, on the other hand, are clear, written, specific, and measurable. We'll talk about SMART goals here in just a few minutes. 3, people fear failure. Failure hurts, but it's often necessary to experience failure in order to achieve the greatest success. Don't unconsciously sabotage yourself by not setting any goals just because you might fail. Okay? Failure is okay. It's part of success. Number 4, people don't set goals because they fear rejection. People are often afraid that if they're unsuccessful at achieving their goals, others will be critical of them. This is remedied by keeping your goals to yourself at the outset or never making any to begin with. Let others see your results and achievements once you've accomplished these goals. Make a habit of daily goal setting and achieving for the rest of your life. Focus on the things you want rather than what you don't want, because you will get what you focus on. Resolve to be a goal-seeking organism moving unerringly towards the things that are important to you. Guys, Harvard is a pretty legit school, and their MBA program is second to none, and studies that they do are pretty spot on. So I hope that is some of the proof that you may be looking for. Now, guys, that we've shared that, I want to share with you guys, kick things off here with a quick little
There's a well-known story about a university professor
that
wanted to make a point about the importance of prioritizing how we spend our time. The professor stood in front of his class with a display of items. He took a large, empty jar and filled it with rocks, approximately 2 inches in diameter. He then asked the class if the jar was full, and they agreed, yes, the jar was full. The professor then took a box of pebbles and added them to the jar and gave it a little shake to move the pebbles into the open areas around the rocks. The professor asked the class again if the jar was full. They agreed, yes, it is full this time. The professor then took a box of sand and added it to the jar, filling the spaces between the rocks and the pebbles. He asked again, now, is the jar full? They laughed and agreed, yes, it's full. This jar represents your life. The big rocks signify the really important things in your life, such as health, family, and friends. The pebbles are the other things that matter in your life, such as work or school. And the sand signifies the remaining small stuff, such as material possessions. Now, if you were to reverse the order of filling the jar and add the sand first, there would not be enough room for the rocks and the pebbles. The same principle applies to your life. If you spend too much time on the small stuff, you won't have enough space or time to focus on the things that are truly important, the big rocks. So, prioritize the big rocks first. Practice self-care, spend quality time with the people you love, and the rest is just pebbles and sand. They will always find some space.
So, hey, thank you very much for whoever just shared.
If you're trying to lose belly fat, stop doing cardio.
And if you're trying to lose belly fat, definitely stop doing cardio. Remember that, guys. So, guys, that was the story of the jar and the mark. Some of you guys have heard that before. but it just talks about putting the important things in first. And I wanted to kick off our goals little PowerPoint here with that story. Has anybody ever heard that story before?
Yeah, I have.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Guys, what is it? What's a takeaway from that story that you got? What should we do in our lives?
Prioritize.
Yeah, guys, we want to make sure that first things first, right? We want to make sure that we're putting the important things in our life first. Those would be things like our faith, right? Our family. Okay, those would be the rocks. And then you got the secondary, our physical health. Those are the important things, our career may fall into that as well. Secondary things, maybe, anyway, you guys get the idea with that, the sand, things like that. That's stuff like watching television, just things that are just, kind of time sucks, if you will. But guys, we got to put the important things in first. Okay. And so guys, we're going to talk about the cycle of achievement and to make the impossible highly probable. We heard the big rocks analogy, and let's make sure, guys, that we are doing like what's over here on the right side and putting our big rocks in first, so we have room for them. Because guys, if we put the unimportant stuff, the secondary, the third, the fourth most important stuff in first, it doesn't leave time for those important things like our family, like our faith, like our health, like our career, the vehicle that we're using to put our kids through college, to meet all our lifelong financial goals. So guys, I mentioned earlier, we talked about a little bit about goals and about being smart. Okay. SMART goals are, it's an acronym, and I would encourage you to write this down. SMART goals are specific. Okay. S is for specific. They need to be clear and concise and no uncertain terms. Okay. Measurable. M is for measurable. They need to be measurable. Progress is easily quantified and tracked. It leaves no doubt. A stands for attainable. Okay. They need to be realistic, but they also need to challenge you. They need to push you. Okay. Accomplishment leads to confidence. Okay. 3, they need to be relevant. R is for relevant. Align those with longer term goals and big rock priorities. Okay. So also they need to be time bound, guys, time related or time bound. Okay. They need to, you cannot win a race that has no finish line. Okay. So there needs to be a completion date. For us, it's pretty simple. It's the end of the quarter. It's the end of the week. It's the end of the day, right? Completion date focuses on effort in a very finite, specified period of time. So guys, that's what SMART stands for: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and then time bound. Okay. So guys, just a couple of quick testimonials to show that goals really do work. So this is Emily Page, an agent from Altitude Business Group. And this was her original Q4 BPF that she, after about 9 weeks or 2/3 of the quarter, decided it was time to make some adjustments. So you can kind of see here that she had her plan on each week for her hours that she was going to work. She had her demonstrations goal each week. She had her premium goal each week. And she also had a families protected goal. Okay. Guys, the 5th quality is kind of a you pick. I always encourage people to track the number of people that you speak to about our business, or, field recruits, personal recruits, and then also referrals is a really good thing to track as well. But when she was kind of behind on her goals throughout about the first 8 weeks, and then you can kind of see what happened here in week 9 of that quarter, or week 48 of the year, because this was in the 4th quarter. Goal was 7,500, and she made up a whole lot. She made up all of her deficit with a $20,000 week, which put her right there in contention. So yeah, I would just encourage you guys, again, tracking. When you actually put these numbers in, it tells you if you're in green, that means you are at or ahead of goal. You're either on pace or ahead of pace. All right. And she was, after 9 weeks, ahead of her pace in hours, and went from significantly behind to about $1,500 ahead of her goal. 16 families ahead of her goal as well. Now she's a little bit behind on the demos, 69 demos behind to be specific, so significantly behind. Fortunately, her skill level allowed for that, and that 65 hour and 41 demo week on that train more certainly made a big difference. This was her. Yeah, I'm actually going to skip this one because I'm not sure exactly what that one is. This one is actually a gentleman that a couple of our agents actually worked with last week, Austin Nice, who lives down in Texas. This was his Q4 VPF from back in 2019. And then you'll see after that is Q1 VPF for 2020. So Q4, you can kind of see that, again, hours plugged in, tracked each week. This was as of week 51, so didn't quite have that final train more complete in the books yet. He knew he was a little behind on his hours, a little bit behind on his demos, but right on track, actually a little bit ahead after 12 and 13 weeks with his sales. And guys, I would also draw your attention to the top 3 business goals and top 3 personal goals. I think sometimes people kind of miss on that and just overlook it, but it's important to not only have things in business that are important to you. Like for him, it was, hey, hit my weekly goals, train new agents, Eagle every train more, and write 70,000 for the quarter, which he definitely did. And also having some personal goals there. Start a Roth IRA was important to him. Read 2 books in the quarter was a goal, and to stay healthy. And now for him, hopefully he broke that down into a little bit more specific goal, whether it be work out a certain amount of times or eat a certain certain thing, to be real specific and measurable as well. And then this was were his goals for the following quarter, because he achieved those. So you can kind of see he decided to level up a little bit. He upped the ante, and instead of having a $70,000 goal like he did in Q4, he raised it actually up to 90, kind of up there in Trish Mosier territory in Q1. So guys, here's another example. This is Devin Beck. Okay. And guys, one thing you'll notice about these high achievers is that, again, that they take the time to put their goals. And what you don't see, guys, is you don't see hours 40, 40, 40, 40, 40. Oh, train more 50, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 50. No, these are specific. Okay. You don't see demos 25, 25, 25, 30, or 35. You see specific numbers in there that are based on the amount of time that's going to be dedicated and put in. These are Devin's goals, a little bit different format on his, but you can kind of see they are very specific each week. This is his team VPF. So he has on here, this actually is a combination that he uses in his organization. He actually made this himself, but he has his personal demonstrations, personal premium, and then also his submits with and without his own personal production. Okay. And then he also has his team production on there as well. And all the different things that are lined up throughout the course of the month. This one also, guys, I would encourage you to use the vision portion, which is right above that. You guys all have that on yours. Again, some people just skip it, but guys, vision's important. As Helen Keller said, vision, having sight but no vision is a tragedy. And we need to make sure that we know what we're gunning for and have our overall picture. For him, it said, is my vision is to double, is my double $1 million year. I can't, it's cut off right there. I'm going to hit my 5-year vesting with 1 million lifetime net annual premium. And Team Rise is going to do blank millions of dollars in NAP in 2019. I don't know what that number is, but it was very specific. Might have been 2 million or so, maybe 1 million would be my guess. This also shows his, again, the demos, premium, amount of submits that he wanted to have in his group, and team premium as well. So guys, now that we've seen a couple of examples, let's talk about the kind of the why on this. And we're going to discuss both annual goals and also quarterly goals. So we're going to talk about the difference between needs and wants. Okay, guys, understand, and the common denominator tells us that needs will only push us so far, but wants will push us far beyond once our basic needs are met. Guys, if you're only here to meet your needs, if you're only here to pay the bills and survive, man, you can do that. You can do that taking orders down at McDonald's. Most of us can. Okay. If you just get enough hours, you can survive doing a lot of things that are easier on a day-to-day basis than this. This is not a survive business. Now, there's phases of the business. We might be just trying to survive in the first month or 2 or 3 and getting caught up to where we can just pay our bills on time. Okay. And then we get to that point where we start chipping away at debt. And then we get to that next phase where we're good. Okay. And we can start really moving the needle. So again, needs or how much to cover monthly expenses, maintain your standard of living. Okay. Guys, wants, that'd be like, how much to get ahead? How much to accomplish my goals here in the quarter coming up? Okay. Some non-income goals may include, I dare you would be one. Final week of it, guys. I know a bunch of you guys are pushing this week to really make that happen and pulling out all the stops. You know, the annual awards trip to Cabo, your ranking at the end of the year in personal sales, or your ranking in the team sales. So your promotions, you know, where are you on the career track? Are you at 35 or 40%? You want to get yourself to 45 or 50. Okay. Or maybe you've been an FD5 for a year plus and you want to move up to market director. Okay. The legacy trip is another one. Guys, that's an amazing time. Riviera Maya was absolutely off the hook this past year. Would encourage you to earn that too. Lifetime Achievement Awards, growth clubs. Those are all examples of non-monetary goals. Okay. How far are you guys from your next raise? Do you know exactly where you sit on the career track? You know, we've actually just very recently had, I think as recently as yesterday, I think I saw an announcement that Casey Fine just hit the $300,000 level. Okay, for her career. And at 300,000, guess what? You go to a 50-3 contract. So that's a 5% raise on the front and a 1% raise. It's a 50% increase on your renewals. Permanent for life. So now the next phase is now market director. Okay. And that just can't be done with just your personal. That's done with a team. So knowing where you need to be, guys, are you at field director 5 at a 35% contract? Well, where are you? You're somewhere between 25,000 and 50,000 is my guess. How far are you from 50,000? How soon are you going to hit that? Okay. It's fun when mid-quarter you can kind of actually change those numbers and say, okay, instead of a 35% contract, I'm on 40. Instead of 40, I'm on 45. That's pretty cool. So know where you are. Know how close you are. That can motivate. That can inspire you to push a little further. So, guys, what do you want to accomplish? Okay, some additional monetary goal ideas. These are just some things that you may or may not have thought about, but you know, just financial security, the ability to pay all your bills on time, the ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want to do it with. Okay. That's freedom. Extra money in the bank, guys. For some of us, the words extra and money have never been in the same sentence before. Well, it can be here. Okay. You might want to start a Roth IRA, or if you started one, you might want to actually contribute to it. Okay. Or you might even want to max it out. If you've been contributing, look and see what the most you can put into a Roth. Guys, a Roth is one that you can only can do it at up to a certain income level. That's something that about 3 years ago, I made my 2 children, employees of my S Corp. And that way they could do little menial things that don't make sense for me to do, but then I could pay them and put that, and then I could actually put money into a Roth for them. That money doesn't get taxed on the front end. It grows tax-free and doesn't get taxed on the back end. It's a beautiful thing that can really, truly help set other people, yourself and others up for success in the future. How about unique experiences, trips, concerts, bucket list items, sporting events, the Super Bowl, World Series. I mean, those are some pretty cool things to experience. Investment capital. Okay. Are you putting your money to work so that when you're sleeping, it's also making you money, even outside of what we do here at Globe Life Family Heritage? Have you invested? Maybe putting money in real estate or venture capital, okay? Lifestyle or other things, putting money back for your kids' college. Do you have other loved ones, or maybe they're family, maybe they're not family, that you help and support and help take care of them? We've got such a person down in the Wilmington area that is just someone that we've kind of adopted, and we just kind of We've got a really cool relationship with our guy Johnny down there. We take care of him, and he does his best to help us out as he can too. A house, vehicles, sports, those are all examples. Charity, guys, giving back. We talk about success to significance. When you hit that season where you've accomplished what you want to accomplish personally, it's time to start giving back. Okay. And helping others, because you truly get back what you put into the lives of others. Some other non-monetary goal ideas might be getting healthy, your own personal fitness, lifting or running. Maybe you join a boot camp gym. Okay. Orange Theory is something that about three years ago, my old college roommate introduced me to, and that's twice a week. And it's awesome. It's definitely been a game changer. Making a positive impact on other people, volunteering your time, going, doing missions work, nonprofit work, coaching sports teams, whether it's your kids or whether you're just volunteering at the Y to help other people out that aren't your kids, get involved in your church. All those are examples. Personal growth, improvement, reading, education, seminars, retreats. I mean, all those things fall under that. What are some incentives, guys, that you're gunning for? Being aware that they're out there. Guys, Family Heritage has so many incentives, and I dare say that there's a lot of people that are unaware of a lot of them. And guys, if you're not aware of an incentive, it's not going to motivate you. It's not going to help push you towards your goals. So be aware, pull out that incentive book, today, this weekend, and read through it and highlight ones or write ones down that you want to personally hit. No one's going to hit all of them. No one gets fired up by every single one, and that's okay. So, but you specifically ought to pick and choose the ones that fire you up. And if you're not sure which one should, talk to your trainer. They'll help you out. But monthly Family Heritage cash bonus, know when the 5-week months are. This is a 5-week month, and we're in week 5 of the sales month of March. That means we should be hitting 20,000, 30,000 plus this week and taking a $500 bonus to 1,500. So know when the tough months are and plan accordingly. The saying, as you've heard it said before, it wasn't raining when Noah built the ark. So save, guys. When it's harvest time, you want to save and stockpile. Okay. It's okay, guys, to start putting, $50 a month back for, car repair savings, so that you're putting back $600 a year. So when something happens with the car, and it always does, you grab from that account and fix the car for cash, instead of putting it on a credit card and paying 20% interest on top of it over the next year while you pay it back. So plan for those things. They're going to happen, so don't just be reactive, be proactive with your finances. Stock bonuses. Okay. Know how you get stock bonuses in this business, guys. Stock is just like cash, only it grows a lot faster than cash. The recruiting bonuses, PIF perfect, consistency, guys, our little mantra, WDDZW. Anybody know what that stands for?
We don't do 0 weeks.
We don't do 0 weeks. That's right. We protect families every week, guys. Make it more than a saying. Make it something that you won't stand for. You won't tolerate a 0 week. And eventually you'll get to the point where you don't have to think about that. You get to the point where you don't tolerate less than a builder's week, or you don't tolerate less than a green out. And that's when it gets pretty exciting. The trips, the different competitions, are you involved in March Mania? Were you fired up about I Dare You? The knockout competition coming up later. Get involved in those things, guys. When you put in $100 to get in those things, you go work harder. And if you only protect one additional family, you make your money back plus some. But if it fires you up to do even more, you're winning. Whether you actually win the prize cash or not, you win just by being involved in it and doing more than you would have without it. Write down those 3 big train wars each year. Presidential Performance Week, guys, it's coming up in 1 month. It's PPW. That's one of the 3 biggest weeks of our year. Are you waiting for it to get here to start thinking about it, like the Friday before or the weekend before? Or are you planning right now and setting up enrollments and setting things up and letting your spouse know now that 4 weeks from now, we got a big, huge week, and hey, I might be out of town that week, or at the very least, I'm out the door early and I'm going to be home late. If you could save me a plate of dinner when I get home at 8:30 or 9, I'll eat it then. Legends Week's the next one. That's more mid-year, and then Founders Week is towards the end of the year. Okay. Do you just treat them like a normal week and get normal week results, or do you treat them like a big deal? Okay. So look at the sales calendar, mark it down, guys. This is the 2022 calendar right here. Okay. We know that Spring into Action Train More 3 was last week. We're at this week. So literally 1, 2, 3 weeks from now, we're going to be in the thick of it with PPW. Okay. And we're right in the middle of March Mania right now too. Excuse me. We're starting March Mania. Starts actually next week. Sorry. Week 3. Actually, I take that back. It starts this week. Right now, we're in it, week 13. So if you were registered in March Mania, know that we've got the next, looks like about 6 weeks for that. So let's push. Focusing more in on Q2. This is the deal right here. We know exactly when the train mores are. We know when everything is, guys. Nothing sneaks up on us. Okay. We can see that we've got the first 9 weeks of Q2. Those are the last 9 weeks of qualifying for the Arlington trip. Okay. March Mania is in there. We know what's coming up. We know when the holidays are. Really, the only real holiday is Memorial Day, which is in week 11 of the quarter, middle week of June. So the 5-week month in Q2 is going to be June, guys. We got two 4-week months coming up, and then the 5-week months. Plan it. Stack the decks. Set up a big month so you can maximize that bonus, guys. All right, guys. Moving right along, we're getting ready to bring this thing to a head here in the next couple of minutes. But crystallizing, guys, we're going to talk about crystallizing your goals for this quarter. Okay. So guys, take a look at your calendar and plan your time available. So this is where you put in the big rocks, going back to the rocks, big rock, small rock, sand, water analogy. First off, plan your big weeks. When are the train mores? When do you have big enrollments? Okay. Look ahead at your next quarter and anticipate any potential adjustments in Q2 that need to happen based on what happened in Q2. Next, put in your slow weeks. Okay. Hey, when's a holiday? If you know that the 3rd to last week is Memorial Day and you're not working on Memorial Day, you got a 4-day week instead of a 5-day week. Plan it. Okay. Week 16 is PPW. That's huge. Set it up. Week 22, there's Family Heritage 101 and 301. Are you going? If so, you're probably going to miss 2, maybe 3 days of production that week. Plan for it. When are your family vacations? Guys, those fall into the category of a small rock. They're pretty important. It might not be faith, might not be our health, but it's pretty important to have that time with family. Weddings, births, baptisms. If you have that family reunion that happens every single year, first week of June, it's going to happen this year too. Plan for it. When are the leadership meetings that are coming up? And then the remaining weeks, guys, after you got your big ones and your small ones, how many total days do you really have to work? Okay. Are your goals realistic given your availability? Do you need to lower your goals to match your availability, or do you need to raise your availability to match your goals? Okay. So step 2, guys, in that is convert your results goals into controllable activity. Okay. Now, guys, this is where we're going to be throwing